Good morning, everyone, again. Our judge is here. This is Kenna Kearns from Clearbrook, Virginia. She has grown up showing all 4 species of livestock. She was a member of the 2021 Champion Livestock Judging Team, earning 4th overall individual at the American Royal Livestock Judging Contest. In 2022, Kenna was a member of the Reserve National Champion 4-H Skillathon team, the National Champion 4-H Livestock Judging team, and earned 5th high individual, making her an All-American in 2023. Kenna represented the United States in Scotland, Ireland, and England in 2 international livestock judging contests in the summer of 2024. Kenna is currently attending Butler Community College, majoring in ag business, and a member of the collegiate livestock judging team. Let's all give a warm welcome to our judge this morning, Kenna Kearns.
Okay, in the feeder class, which is appropriately lined up early, thank you, we have Kaylee Bentley from Parma FFA, Avery Lucor from Middleton Wranglers, Madison Rocky from Nampa FFA, Hadley Wilfong from Red Top Wranglers, Harper McGee from Dead End Ranchers, Cameron Doremus from Sunny Ridge 4-H, Kaylee Bentley from Parma FFA, Jalen Lane from Valley View FFA, Charlie Sager from my club, Caveman Critters, and Solomon Reese from Dry Lake Livestock.
They're going to be the ones you see tonight at the 6:30 show, because you're going to have 2 champion and reserve lightweights, 2 middle, 2 heavy, so you're going to have 6 to pick from. So just let me know how many ribbons so that we can start getting them out. Right. Yep. And then we will just circle of more. So feeders, you can just decide how you. It's the judge's call as to what you see, but if you just give us blues, we're going to come back and use it hopefully there's purpose in each group. These 2. Our judges in the past. Yeah, and then just determine who's blue and red. Every judge is a little bit different. I always hope there's at least 2.
There should be no purple goats in this class. Yeah, no, they're feeders. They did not make weight. There should be no purple. I'm okay with that. And I get some of it may or may not be their fault, but overall, it's a feeder class. Yep. Nope, that's perfectly fine. If you need stuff, just holler. You need water. I think we have our judge. I think we're ready to rock and roll. We're going to get this feeder class started.
So a nice class of feeders we have out here to start, and obviously a little harder to judge because maybe we just haven't reached that market weight yet. In case you guys are confused, I have my first over here, and then last comes over here. I think this one that starts us off just kind of wins pretty easily in terms of real shape and muscle. That's the only one when I go to handle it, kind of has some real turn and pop up there. Also has a nice look from the side. I think just a comfortable place to start in terms of having the muscle and stuff. If that one would have made weight, I think it would have been a little more competitive. So a nice project there to start. It comes a little difficult as we continue to go on down the line. Our second here, I think, wins just in terms of weight. I don't know if it actually weighs as much, but it just has a little more weight. The young lady does a nice job of getting it set up. It's tall fronted, nice looking project as well. Comfortable kind of second there. The young man's next. You can tell that one. They've presented it well. They have him fit up and kind of a nice dough to go third. Good in terms of body shape, good in terms of design. Maybe we just need to stouten that one up, give it a little more shape. I kind of had a difficult time with the young ladies here, this kind of more moderate one, because it has a little more shape than some of the others, and it is a little stouter. They've presented it well. I just don't like the way that one's built, honey. It kind of breaks behind its shoulder, and that comes with it being moderate, right? But I think a nice goat in terms of shape and product, if it wasn't so moderate, maybe our design and our weight standpoint would be a little better. The young man's paint right here, good in terms of design, tall, shouldered, smooth. We just need to stouten that one up a bit as well. Kind of plainer and flatter in terms of handle, kind of plainer and flatter as you get in behind her, but a good one in terms of balance and design. The dapple that comes next, I think that one actually surprised me when I came to handle. Had a little bit of shape, had a little bit of, turn and stuff, but it's when you get behind that one, it doesn't keep that same shape. I wish that one was better in terms of its hind leg. It's a little straight, especially in terms of its hock, but actually surprising in terms of the shape it has up high. The next one, that one's just a good project in terms of weight. I'm sure you were probably pretty close on terms of the weight and making weight, which is good. And I think that one has some shape in terms of its loin, but we just break incredibly bad behind its shoulders. Subsequently, also just doesn't have a whole lot of shape right there in terms of his rack. This next one I actually think is designed very well, very smooth, very nice female, good and tall shouldered. Just needs to be opened up in terms of her rib cage, opened up in terms of shape, but a nice project as well. The young lady in the FFA jacket here, and props to all you kids in your FFA jackets today. It's a hot one to be doing that, so props to all you guys. That one's good and tall shouldered. That one's got a good set to its hind leg. I just need it to be stouter, more opened up. As we continue on down, the young lady in the plaid shirt here, another tall-shouldered, good-looking one who has a good bit of jump muscle, just plainer in terms of look. I wish we had these last two clipped off. Maybe for next year, keep that in mind that we could clip these ones off unless we're showing in the dough show. I don't know if we can double entry or anything. But good in terms of look and tall-shouldered, just really plain, and I really would like to fix that one in terms of its hind leg, the way its tail sets lower. And the last one that rounds us out here, just plainer, the flattest one. I handle that one. It just seems to be the plainest and flattest up high. Good in terms of body shape, good in terms of a tall shoulder, just needs more, but a really nice set of projects for feeders. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
All right. On deck is our first class of lightweight market goats. Okay, coming into the ring will be Jackson Chatfield from Ranchers and Rioters, Susan Clark from Happy Valley Livestock, William Clark from Happy Valley Livestock, Cameron Doremus from Sunny Ridge 4-H, Addie French from Caveman Critters, Wyatt Gustafson from Caveman Critters, Wade Miller from Dry Lake Livestock, Tatiana Sandoval from Critters of Gold, Zeno Steele from Caveman Critters, and Roxy Zemer from Dry Lake Livestock.
Well, we certainly amped up some of the quality as we get into the lightweights here. I think a really interesting top trio to start us off, actually, because they all have things I like and they all have things that I want to fix in them, which is typical with your lighter weights. You're not seeing them at their just full-grown potential. I decided to land on the younger man's as he just has the combination. That one's good and tall-shouldered, yet still has enough shape, handles well. He presents that one really well. I prefer that one when you set him into motion of the top three. He remains the most collected. So I just think a comfortable place to call a combination and start with. The young ladies in second, though, that one handles the best. That one's the most expansive over his rack and into his hip, the stoutest. I just want to fix that one from the side. He gets up in his spine, drops behind his shoulder, and just subsequently kind of off, makes his balance kind of off, especially when you set him into motion. He just starts to accentuate those problems, but a really stout one, really good in terms of his body shape and the power that he brings today. I struggle with the third one because I think that one actually has the best touch and tone. I don't know, that one's the most hydrated, I guess you'd say. I just want to see that one match that from behind because from the side here, he flattens in terms of his lower hip. He is still tall-shouldered and good-looking. I just think he needs to match the shape and hydration he has up high when I step in behind him and from the side. The one we have here in fourth, I really like in terms of a design perspective because that one's really long and really smooth and really stout in terms of feature, probably the stoutest featured one we've had yet. I just want to see that one stouter. That one's flatter in terms of its forerib and body. It needs to be a little more opened up in terms of the way it handles, but good shape from this side and a good look from this side overall. I also kind of struggle with this red goat because I actually think that one's very nice, but the fact that it's so frail at the ground kind of throws it off. I think if that one had a bigger set of feet and legs, you all would probably draw to that one more because he actually has an impressive amount of shape up high and shape from behind. I just think from this side, the frailer look kind of throws him off. And the next one, the young man's here, is really good in terms of being a tall-shouldered one. I want to fix the way that one's hind leg is built. It just gets a little straight and a little choppy when we set it out into motion, but good in terms of shape up high and body shape. I wish this weather here we could see sheared out because I struggle to kind of compare him to other ones that are, but I think that one actually has a good amount of genuine body shape, genuine shape from behind. I just want to see that one have more genuine shape up high to match it, and maybe just a better presentation overall. This next one we have here is very good from the side. That's a tall-shouldered, smooth one that's good when you set it into motion. I just wish it had more shape up high. It gets a little plainer when I handle, a little narrower from behind, a little flatter in terms of its body shape, but a really good-looking one. The young man's here with a little rougher clip job. I'm guessing we probably had some struggle getting here because we were a little wet, but that's okay. That one's a big-featured, big-boned one who's good in terms of just the genuine base width it has. I just don't know that it matches that up high or matches that from behind. I wish that one was more opened up to match the bigger features that one has. And the young lady's dapple that rounds us out has a nice job in terms of presentation, a good-bodied one that's good in terms of a tall shoulder and a good look. I just wish that one was more pulled apart, a little more powerful today. But a nice class. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, coming back into the ring will be William Clark from Happy Valley Livestock and Susan Clark from Happy Valley Livestock. Did I already announce this class? No? Okay, this is class number 2 of feeders. In the ring is Thomas Angood from Happy Valley Livestock, Clayton Costa from Middleton Wranglers, Mariah Gentry from Parma FFA, Kyler Hoffman from Middleton Wranglers, Hunter Powell from Happy Valley Livestock, Solomon Reese from Dry Lake Livestock, Addison Rush from Critters of Gold, Tessa Seger from Caveman Critters, Vivian Wood from M-Town Critters, Bentley Zemer from Dry Lake Livestock, and Devin Farley from Saddle Tramps. This is lightweight class number 2.
Another nice class we have here in the lightweights. And today, I don't know if y'all will see me put cookie cutter ones every time. I'm just going to find the highest quality ones in my mind and use those ones. I don't care if they all look like cookie cutters. I want to give the kids with the highest quality animals the chance. And I think that's what the young lady has here in this doe. Is this the stoutest one? No. But is this the highest quality? I'm pretty confident, yes. That's a tall-shouldered, good-looking one. And she's going to fight the lady, and that's okay, who actually handles the freshest and most hydrated. If that one was just stouter in terms of its lower hip, and especially from the side, I think nobody would argue that that one is the nicest one in here. But I just think that if you handle that well and you look that nice, you're that highly presented, I think there's no question that one's the highest quality to start us off. And that's not to take away from the young man here, because this one is actually the most expansive. And I was surprised when I came in to handle because that one's frailer at the ground and a little plainer looking, but he actually has the most expansive rack and into her loin, and is the boldest in terms of her center body. I think that one's just nice from the side, not exciting, but a really nice smooth one that I think fits in a comfortable second. And this red one I actually had some struggle with because I think when the young lady gets this one propped up, he looks really nice. You set that one into motion, he's straighter in terms of his hind leg and just gets a little plainer in terms of his look, but that one's good in terms of shape. That one's good in terms of its handle up high, good in terms of body shape. Just needs to be a little stouter in terms of its footwork and a little more fluid in terms of motion. And this next one, the young lady's doe is also very nice in terms of a tall shoulder, in terms of being smooth, in terms of setting that one into motion. I appreciate her. I just wish that one was stouter from behind. It's actually okay in terms of handle up high. That's not where I have a problem. It's in terms of its lower hip that I just want to stouten that one up to maybe move any higher today. And this one I also think is probably maybe the second most impressive in terms of just expansiveness and stoutness. I just need to fix that one in terms of build. That one's incredibly straight in terms of its hind leg, and especially when you set it into motion, it just starts to fall apart, but really good in terms of shape and power. Young ladies here handles well. That one's a fresh, hydrated one that's tall in terms of its shoulder. I just need to see that one maybe a little stouter in terms of its hip, a little bolder in terms of center body. The black dapple we have here, that one actually surprised me in terms of being pretty stout from behind for what I was expecting. Pretty expansive up high and good in terms of its body shape. I just think that one's too frail and plain looking from the side to move up any higher. And kind of the same story with this one. This one surprised me in terms of being pretty shapely up high and having a good look in terms of its front end. I just think that one needs to be a little stouter from behind, a little opened up in terms of its center body. Then another dapple we have here, it seems like a popular color today so far, is good in terms of body shape. That's a nice project for that young man. Good in terms of its bone work. I just need to see that one stouter from behind, a little neater from the side. Not to sound like a broken record through all of this, just another one that's good and tall-shouldered from the side. Need to open that one up. And the same story goes for this one here. Tall-shouldered, good-looking. I think that one just needs to be opened up in terms of shape up high, in terms of shape from behind, but good-bodied, good projects all around. Let's give a round of applause for these kids.
Okay, coming back into the ring. Class 2, you guys can exit the ring. Coming back into the ring for the runoff will be Hunter Powell from Happy Valley Livestock and Devin Farley from Saddle Tramps 4-H. On deck in the ring for lightweight class number 3 is Lane Burdine, Parma FFA, James Clark, Happy Valley Livestock, Camilla Costa from Middleton Wranglers, Gavin LaCour from Middleton Wranglers, Drew Markham from Crafty Critters, Wade Miller from Dry Lake Livestock, Ellie Mueller from Cowpokes 4-H, Cecilia Olson from K-Man Critters, Silas Reese from Dry Lake Livestock, Kinsley Toll from Ranchers and Riders, and Annika Wiersma from Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program. Is this class 4? Did I call all the kids? Did I call the kids? Following this class, we'll have a runoff of all the lightweight classes.
Another nice class, and I think we just keep amping up the quality as we get heavier here. And I struggled with the top two, as you guys probably saw. I just think the young ladies puts the most good together in terms of from the side and in terms of shape. That one's a tall-shouldered, stout-footed one that just paints a beautiful picture from the side. I think that one actually is the most expansive up high. The only thing I want to change about that one is in terms of lower hip from the side. If that one had a little more shape from right here on the side of its hip, I think that one would be a little more killer in terms of look from the side. Not to take away that's still a good-looking stout one that I think is ultra competitive. I just wish we could tweak that on that one. And I struggle with the young man's. Obviously, you all saw he was struggling with him. It's been a little bit of a struggle for you to, get him braced and get him set up. But I don't think that takes away from the quality that's in that goat. That's a tall-shouldered one that's extremely expansive up high, and I actually think is better in terms of lower hip shape, in terms of shape from behind. I just wish that one was better in terms of feature. I wish that one was a little stronger behind its shoulder, and I wish in motion that one had given us a better prance around so we could see what he looks like. I just think that one's not built quite as good, but a really nice, really stout project for the young man. The red goat here I really like from the side, especially when the young lady gets a hard drive into him. That one has a nice tall shoulder and drives uphill really well. I just think that one becomes disappointing because I expected him to be really expansive up high and really good in terms of his rack shape. That one's actually a little plainer right there. That's where I'd like to fix that one. I think the opposite goes for this one here. That one's got shape up high and that one handles really well. I just think from the side we need to fix that one. He's a little plainer in terms of his chest, a little plainer in terms of his look. It needs to be maybe presented a little better, but I think that one actually has some genuine shape to stand on. The young ladies here, same story goes. I think that one's really expansive up high and really stout from behind. I just need that one to be a little nicer from the side, a little frailer and a little plainer in terms of its look. The young man's here. It's a nice project. That one's got body shape. That one's got stoutness. I just think that one needs to be a little more opened up in terms of shape from behind. I think that one comes a little frailer to the ground, but a nice project for the young man. The young lady here in the plaid, I think this one actually has some stoutness of feature and a good look from the side when she gets a good brace on him. I just think that it's a little more disappointing when he falls out behind his shoulder and reads a little plainer to the touch. This all red goat here, I think that one has the adverse problem. I think that one is actually shapely up high and actually has some shape. I think from the side you wouldn't expect it because that one's a little frailer and a little plainer in terms of its hip. Another dapple here, and I think that one is well presented. I think the young man's done a nice job with that. I think that's a tall-shouldered, good project in terms of body shape. Just needs to be more expansive up high, needs to be opened up from behind. Same story goes for these next two, the black-headed weather. I think that one's tall-shouldered. I think it has a good design from the side, and we need to open that one up. Same for the dapple. That's a tall-shouldered, smooth-made one. We just need to be a little stouter down here. But a nice set of goats. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, coming back for the runoff will be James Clark and Drew Markham. We will now get those 6 kids back into the ring for your overall runoff of lightweight meat goats. So coming back for your runoff will be Susan Clark, William Clark, Hunter Powell, Devin Farley, James Clark, and Drew Markham.
Currently in the ring are our first and seconds from our 3 lightweight classes. The judge will look at these 6 goats again, and she will pick her grand and reserve lightweight goat. Those 2 goats will be in the awards ceremony tonight at 6:30 is when it starts. And the top 2 lightweight, top 2 middleweight, and top 2 heavyweight will not get their final awards until selection tonight of the overall Grand and Reserve Champion Market Goat.
Well, to start, let's give these guys a hand. This is a really impressive lightweight division. And I'll go through and talk about each one real quick. I think the one that comes out of our lightest class, I think that one's really stout and really opened up. I think we need to fix that one in terms of being a little frailer, but talk about shape in terms of a tiny goat, that one has it. I think the young lady's here's by far the neatest in terms of design and look. That's a smooth-made, tall-shouldered one that's really impressive from the side. I just want to see her stouter from behind and stouter in terms of her hip, but a really nice-looking one. I think the one we have here, that one's got a big chest, a big forearm, a good handle. I just don't know if that one's maybe a little compact in terms of its front end, a little plainer in terms of its look from the side. As we go into the seconds from our first class, I think that one's incredibly opened up as well. Same problems as our class winner, maybe just a little frailer. Maybe just need to open that one up in terms of its lower hip as well. I think the young man's with the paint back here is really nice in terms of look and design and actually surprises you with a good handle. Maybe just a little frailer, a little plainer from the side. And I think the same story goes for this one as well. That one's opened up. That one's shapely. That one's got a good turn to the center portion of its body. I just want to see it better in terms of when you set it into motion. That one's a little plainer in terms of the way it looks from the side because of its straighter kind of build. But I think a really nice set. I'll go out and shake the hand of your champion in reserve. Let's give them one more round of applause.
Is that Drew Markham? Is that gal's name? Okay, I'm pretty sure it is. Because she couldn't, that goat wouldn't even walk the pictures yesterday. And I said, how are you going to show this tomorrow? She goes, I don't know. I said, well, it looks beautiful when you get him set up. Patsy, is that Drew Markham? Your grand champion lightweight meat goat is Drew Markham, and your reserve lightweight meat goat is Devin Farley. Entering the ring for our first class of middleweight is Kalia Arnold, Taven Kronkovich, Clara French, Luke Gustafson, Jill Holman, Wade Ingram, Jalen Lane, Violet McHill, Renly Noble, and Esperanza Trulio. These goats range in weight from 76 to 78 pounds.
a nice first class of middleweights, and I think this one comes with a little challenge to decide where you want to put your priorities. And once again, I'm just going to go with the one that I think's the highest quality. I think that's that young man's doe right here. That one's good looking from the side, tall shouldered, smooth, and yet still surprisingly good in terms of the freshest, most hydrated handle. Do I want to see that one stouter from behind? Yes, but do I think that one comes with the most good? Also, yes. I think the young man's here is nice. That's a stout-footed, good built one who's actually really impressive in terms of the way he handles. I want to see that one opened up in terms of his center body and from behind. I think this painted doe we have here is also really good in terms of handle and shape from behind. That one gets a little flatter in terms of her forehead, a little plainer behind its shoulder, and just a little plainer overall from this side. But I think a nice stout one to go third. I struggle with this one because I think this one's also really opened up. That one handles incredibly good. This all red goat that's stout from behind gets frailer and plainer in terms of look from this side. There's times when that one's not completely set up, and when we're on the circle that I just think it just reads too plain from the side to move up any higher. But I think in terms of shape, that's a really nice project for the young lady. I mean, the same story goes for this one as well. That's a really stout, really opened up one. I'm going to bargain to say that one's pretty heavy for a middleweight maybe in this class, but I think we just struggle in terms of presentation and look from the side. That one gets dropped out in its chest and behind its shoulder, a little higher in terms of its hip and a straighter in terms of its build when you set it into motion, but I do think that one's incredibly opened up in terms of its center body and shape. Another red one with kind of fun colors here that I think also has some shape. In terms of up high and a good center body, I just want to see that one stouter from behind to match it. That one gets frailer and a little tighter in terms of its spine when you set it into motion and from the side, but I think a really nice stout one as well. This black-headed one we have here, that's a tall-shouldered one who's smooth from the side. I just want to see it opened up and a little stouter, really good built from the side when you set it into motion. I just think needs to be stouter to move up any higher today. The young man's here. That one actually has some shape from behind and shape up high. I just think it's plainer in terms of its chest, gets frailer at the surface, and set that one into motion. I like to make that one a little more collected in terms of the way it goes, but I think a really nice project as well. We got the black goat here, I think, with the dapple ears. Has some stoutness up high, doesn't match that from behind. Just gets a little plainer, a little frailer in terms of its look from the side, but I think a nice project. And this last one we have here really opened up in terms of its center body. I just don't think it carries any of that shape up higher from behind, but I think a really nice project for the young lady. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, coming back for the runoff in the middleweight class will be Traven Kronkovich and Wade Ingram. On deck for middleweight class number 2 is Maisie Burdine, Myron Burdine, Tice Fisher, Charlotte Gustafson, Ari Harris, Hadley Kuther, Skylar LaCour, Rhett Peters, and Katrina Whitmore. I forgot clubs. My bad.
a really nice class we have here, and I just think the one that we use to start is pretty high quality. I think that does really nice. In terms of look from the side, that's a tall-shouldered, smooth one that's good in terms of her underline, yet I still think that is by far the stoutest one from behind and the most fresh and hydrated up high. I really just think that's an easy place for us to start in terms of quality. Now, the one that comes to a second, I think matches in terms of the freshness and hydration up high, in terms of being a heavyweight, opened up one. I just want to see that one better in terms of stoutness at the ground and feature. A little plainer in terms of her look, but I think a really good one in terms of shape and freshness. I struggle because the young man in 3 actually has a really stout, really opened up one, especially from behind. I just think that one's a little stale and plain. In terms of hide condition, in terms of being plainer, in terms of the way it sets into motion, that one's a little flat in terms of its pasterns, but I think a really stout featured opened up one to go third. The dapple that comes next, kind of shocking in terms of the way that one actually has some freshness and shape up high. I just don't think that one's near as exciting when we step to this side in terms of having some lower shape to its hip, in terms of having some feature at the ground. I think that one would be a lot better and a lot higher if we could add that. But I think a really good one in terms of hydration and freshness up high. I struggled with this next one too because this red goat has the same story. Really hydrated and fresh up high, impressive when you handle, and good from behind. I just need that one to look nicer in terms of from this side because we get high and tight in terms of our spine, especially when we set into motion. We get frailer at the surface, but I think a really opened up one that's really stout and powerful. I think we have the opposite story here in this young lady's because that one's a tall-shouldered, smooth-made one that's comfortable when set into motion. I just need that one to be opened up in terms of its center body, in terms of shape from behind, but a really good-looking one. The red dapple we have here, good in terms of spread and shape. I just think that one needs to be better in terms of the way it's built because that one gets a little straight and a little tight in its spine when you set it into motion, but a nice project for the young man. The black dapple we have here, that's a really tall-shouldered, really fresh-looking one up front. I just don't know that that's surprising when it comes with being a little flatter and a little plainer, but a nice-looking one. And to round us out, that one's incredibly opened up in terms of its body. I think that also comes with it just being frailer and plainer from the side. I need to open that one up, but I think a really nice class. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Okay, coming back into the ring for the middleweight runoff class 2 will be Tice Fisher from Homedale FFA and Katrina Whitmore from Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Club. All right. On deck is, or coming into the ring is class number 3, middleweight Jesse Doremus, Wyatt Ingram, Kinley Lane, Zoe Lucor, Jamison Olson, Brinley Rush, and Dane Steele. Macy Burdine blue. Myron Burdine blue. Oh.
Rowan Bates is in this class and you didn't read her name. I just want to make sure she's not in the wrong class.
Who?
She's at the bottom. She's at the bottom, and I wonder if that's me. Is this 8? Yeah, she's in there right now.
My bad. Yeah,
I
just
just make sure she's in the right class.
Yeah, she's in the right class.
Thank you.
Sorry. Rowan Bates is also in this class. She got missed on a page split.
Another nice class, and I think a pair of them at the top end that are really good, but really different. And so it comes down to personal preference. I just think this one that we start off with reads a little trendier and a little more current in terms of the way she's presented from this side. That one's a taller shouldered one who's shallower in terms of her chest, a little neater in terms of her lower body progression, yet still remains the stoutest from behind and the freshest up high. I just think that one reads the most complete and the most unique in terms of what we have out here. But I think that's nothing to take away from the young ladies in second, because that one's ultra opened up, ultra stout, good in terms of its center body, and incredibly stout featured. I just think that one reads a little staler and a little plainer in terms of its hide. I don't know that that one's just as unique from this side, a little plainer in terms of the way it looks, but I think one that's still awfully, one that I'd be awfully proud of. The young ladies here in third, that's a really trim one that's good in terms of a tall shoulder and look from this side. Actually surprisingly good in terms of an hydrated handle up high. I just think that one reads a little plainer in terms of feature, a little plainer in terms of look from the side, but a really good one in terms of freshness and tone. I think the young man's that comes next, I think you could argue that this one deserves to go higher because it's actually a pretty stout one. In terms of handle up high, that one's expansive. I just don't know that it's actually as genuine. I think that one's a little heavier in terms of finish, a little frailer at the ground, but awfully nice one as well to go fourth. Young ladies here, that one's a tall-shouldered, smooth-made one. We just need to open up in terms of center body and shape from behind. This first apple we have here, another tall-shouldered, smooth-made one that actually has some shape up high, just plainer in terms of feature and plainer in terms of look from this side, but a good, and plainer in terms of shape from behind, I apologize, but another good one. Same story with this dapple here. That one actually may be more opened up in terms of center body. I just think plainer from behind and a little plainer in terms of look from the side. That one gets straighter in terms of its hock. And the young man that rounds us out here, I think another tall-shouldered one that's good in terms of its build when set into motion. Just a little too plain, a little too narrow today, but a good set of projects for these kids. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, coming back from class number 3 of middleweights is Wyatt Ingram from Homedale FFA and McKinley Lane from Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program. On deck for class number 4 is Katie Bartrop from M-Town Critters, Aiden Harris from Parma FFA, Wade Ingram from Homedale FFA, Wyatt Ingram from Homedale FFA, Tommy Casper from Dry Lake Livestock, Lauren Lance from Clover Quest 4-H Club, Royce Noble from Caveman Critters, Paisley Price from Caveman Critters, Gracelyn Vance from Canyon County Junior Livestock Program, Laura Whitley from Shooting Stars 4-H, and Macklin Young from Ridgeview FFA.
Well, as you guys could tell, I probably struggled with this top trio just a little bit. So I'll talk about them a little more than I maybe have some of the others because I think there is some challenge. I think the doe that we land on puts the good things about both of our second and third in one package. That's a tall-shouldered, smooth-made one who's good in terms of her underline. I think set that one into motion, and that one's really good, yet still the most hydrated to its touch and tone up high. Maybe not the most expansive up high, but the most hydrated and fresh. I think that one just combines the good things in both of our second and third into one package. Now, that's not to say that our one and second here isn't just the most opened up, because I think that one's the stoutest and the most opened up, good in terms of its center body. I think it actually reads pretty good in terms of a compact yet smooth package from this side. I just don't know that that one's at its A game today. That one's a little staler, a little plainer in terms of touch, and I think a little frailer at the ground, but I think that one has potential to be really nice in terms of a shapely, just manly goat in second. And then we come to the one in third, and I think this one's good in terms of a tall shoulder, smooth look. And y'all are probably like, this looks like the same exact goat that's in first. Down to the showman, you guys look identical. I don't know if y'all are related or whatnot, but the goats look similar. You guys look similar, and I was really struggling. I was like, dang, these goats look really similar. But I think the further you evaluate, this one actually reads a little coarse in terms of its shoulder, a little plainer from behind. I just don't know that it puts together just as much good, but I think that one is good in terms of look and presentation. I just don't know that that one's the stoutest or most expansive up high, but I think an incredible trio to start us off. The young lady's here, she does an incredible job getting this one shown, and I think this one's good in terms of look from the side, and she's a good showman, which only accentuates that. I just really wish this one was stouter and more opened up. From behind, that one's just closed up at the ground, a little plainer in terms of shape. I get on to handle that one, and it's just a little plainer. But I think if that one was opened up and powered up, that could be an incredibly nice goat that plays up further into this class. I think the red goat here is just a powerhouse. That one's opened up in terms of its chest, opened up in terms of its center body, good in terms of shape up high. Maybe doesn't match that when I step in behind him or from the side, and I think that one's a little frailer, a little plainer in terms of look, but a really good, stout, powerful one in fifth. I think the young ladies here has the opposite effect. That one's a tall-shouldered, smooth one. I just don't know that it keeps that same smooth, good look when you set it into motion because he's a little soft on his pasterns, a little more over in his knee, but I think that one's good in terms of look, a nice goat for the young lady. Young man's here. That's a tall-shouldered, smooth one. Set into motion. It's really nice. We just get too frail and flat when we step in behind. A little plainer in terms of shape, but I think a really good-looking, tall-shouldered one for the young man. I think this reddish, blackish painted one we have here is also a tall-shouldered, opened-up one in terms of center body. I just wish that carried back into a stouter hip, maybe a bigger hind leg, but I think a nice one for the young lady. This dapple-headed, dapple one we have here is really good in terms of jump muscle shape, and I think when you get a good drive on him, he looks really nice. I just think that one comes with being a little too coarse and a little too rough when we set him into motion. That one doesn't keep the same composure as when you have him in a nice brace, but I think a good project for the young lady as well. I think we come down. Oh, we're going to lose a goat real quick. There you go. Temporary break real quick to catch goat, but that's all good. I think the young lady here does a nice job. That's a good, tall-shouldered, smooth-made one. Not to sound like a broken record, we just need to open that one up, stouten that one up. I think same thing goes here. I think that's the frailest one, the plainest one, but I think that one's actually pretty tall-shouldered and pretty smooth. Nice project for the lady. We just need to open these last couple ones up, make them a little stouter, but a really nice class. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Okay, coming back into the ring in class 4 of your middleweight goats is Wyatt Ingram, and Paisley Price. We are now at the middleweight division runoff. Coming back into the ring will be Wade Ingram and Traven Kronkovich, Tice Fisher and Katrina Whitmore, Wyatt Ingram and McKinley Lane, Wade Ingram, Wyatt Ingram, and Paisley Price. Actually, one of those Ingram boys. Oh, never mind. I got it right. Nothing. I got Patsy's. I got to look at Patsy's thing. Yeah, I got it. I figured it out. Right. Yeah. I'm not all frustrated. How you doing?
Well, nice middleweights we have here, and it's not often in a market goat show we have 4 does leading us off, but I think that is a testament to how impressive these ones are, and I'll talk about each of them a little bit. Our first class here, I think this is a really intriguing one to look at. That's a tall-shouldered, incredibly fresh one that's good from this side. I don't know if when we get out here if that one's necessarily stout enough. We get a little plainer in terms of shape up high, in terms of rack shape, and we get a little plainer from behind, but I think that one's incredibly good in terms of look. I think the red doe is different out here. That one's a little more moderate, but also just incredibly opened up and yet stays so smooth and good in terms of her lower body progression. I want to see that one a little stouter at the ground, but I don't think that takes away from how impressive she is in terms of power, yet remaining smooth out here today. I think the one we have coming out of our third class of middles is really tall-shouldered and yet stays really good in terms of staying stout throughout, because that one's really impressive up high, hydrated, and impressive in terms of expansion, good in terms of shape from behind, maybe just a little piecier. I think if we get a good brace into that one and get in front of that one, really good in terms of the way it drives and runs uphill in terms of remaining shapely. I just don't know that one's maybe a little piecier, a little cut up in its flank, but I think a really nice one as well. And I think our fourth one out here is good in terms of being opened up in terms of its chest, a stout skull, a big forearm, a really big hip and shape. And I think in class, I thought that one was good enough in terms of look. I don't know if we get out here if that one's just the neatest up front or just the neatest from the side, but I think one that manages to stay smooth and good from the side regardless. Just maybe out here not the most impressive from the side. I think there's give and take in all of them. I think they're all very different. And it's personal preference. I won't argue with you which one of these four you want to use. I think they're all very nice. So I'll come out here and pick your grand and reserve for your middleweights.
Woo! She needs to come forward. Wyatt. So when they did that, that girl in the second line should have moved forward. I don't know. Oh, that was Wyatt, not Wade?
I had to go up and ask.
I know.
Which one? Which Ingram?
Okay, your grand champion, middleweight market goat is Tice Fisher from Homedale FFA, and your reserve champion is Wyatt Ingram from Homedale FFA. On deck, entering the ring, is our first class of heavyweight meat goats. Chase English from Middleton FFA. Tice Fisher, Homedale FFA. Alexis Kufler, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program. Cassandra Maccabee, Valley View 4-H. Madeline Maccabee, Valley View 4-H. Betty Moffis from Caveman Critters. McKinley Rorda from Nampa FFA. And Skylar Schoenecker from Nampa FFA. I'm freezing. Okay, I gotta get this done. Okay, Katie Bartshoff is a red. Laura Whitley is a red. Tommy Casper is a red. Lauren Lentz is a red. Aiden Harris is a red. Cameron is a blue. Graceland Vance is a blue. Wade Ingram is a purple. And a purple. He's done. Oh, she doesn't need a helper this year. I know. Good for her. I'm glad that kid could make it to the show today. I hate that it's like killing him.
A really nice class, and this is definitely the deepest we've had a Class B all day. I think that's a testament to just being in the heavyweights now, but I think we have a pair that come out that are really good, but personally I think this one that starts, that's the trendiest, neatest looking one we've seen all day. That one's tucked up in its chest, good in its lower body. That's a stout-skulled, big-chested one that's impressive in terms of shape. If there's anything I want to fix on this one, I want to make him a little stouter at the ground. I think that one's maybe just a little plainer in terms of hair coat today and texture, maybe a little staler there, but I think a really, really nice one to start us off. That's nothing to take away from the young man's in too, because that's a really good looking, really highly presented one as well. It's smooth in terms of its look from this side. I just think still remains good in terms of shape and power from behind. I just don't know that this one is near as trendy or as unique in terms of its chest floor or shortness of back or just impressive from that sort of way, but I think still really nice one in terms of combining look and shape together. I think the young ladies that comes in third here, that one's a really powerful, really opened up one. I just don't know that this one's as good from this side. I think when she props him up like she has him right now, his front end looks nice, but I think you set him into motion and his frailer and plainer pastern and just kind of tighter spine and build just kind of fall apart there. But I think one that has the power and shape it takes to be competitive. I actually think the young man, if he could get this one set up one time, is actually a very nice goat in terms of front end quality, in terms of lower body quality, and look from the side. I just don't know that this one's stout enough from behind, but I think a look and presentation perspective, that one's really nice. I struggle with this one that the young lady has because I think this one has some body shape. I think this one's opened up high and has some shape from behind. I just don't know that covers the fact that one's coarse shouldered and a little plainer when you set it into motion in terms of the way it stays coordinated. I think the young lady's here. She's got a really nice one in terms of a tall shoulder and look from the side. I just want to open that one up in terms of shape from behind. I think we have the same story as we continue down the line. The young lady's here is really good in terms of a tall shoulder. Set that one into motion and it's really smooth. I just don't think that comes with enough shape and power. Same on down here. I think we just lack in terms of look from this side. That one gets tighter in its spine, straighter in terms of its hock. But I think a really nice set of goats, the highest quality we've had down to the bottom. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Coming back into the ring. Coming back into the ring will be Tice Fisher and Alexis Kufler. Class number 2, heavyweight meat goats. Coming into the ring is Seth Eggenbrod from Valley View Oh, we're on hold. Momentary intermission. Now's a great time to go use the restroom, stretch your legs, talk to your neighbor. I need your things. Hang on a minute. Purple, red, blue. Okay. We're missing a kid somewhere. Oh, I'm freezing. No, I'm okay. It's all right. It's just freaking cold in here. Red, McKinley, Florida. We're on class 12.
But y'all are doing after.
We're doing. No, we're not doing after lunch.
Put a break, okay, whatever.
Yeah, after we find the kid. I think we have a kid showing in another class, so we have to wait for him.
But this one is 12.
Coming into the ring will be class 12. This is a great time to remind everyone, exhibitors, if you have more than one market goat, you have 1 hour after the end of the market show to turn in your no-sell form. Also, I'd like to thank everybody for getting pictures done yesterday. It was done in a very timely manner. Okay, looks like our class is complete. Okay, class number 2 of heavyweight market goats is Seth Agenbro. Oh, we're still waiting? I lied. Okay, third time's a charm. Entering the ring is Seth Agenbrog, Valley View FFA, Hashton Boycell, Caveman Critters, Megan Burdine, Critters of Gold, Corey Jolly from Homedale FFA, Eva Malson from Caveman Critters, Adele Mueller from Cowpokes 4-H, Rylan Noble from Caveman Critters, Josh Shaw from Parma FFA, Remington Vance from Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, and Trent Young from Ridgeview FFA. These goats range from 94 to 98 pounds.
Well, a really nice top pair to get us started, and they're just incredibly different. And I don't really care if you want to switch the way you do them. If you prefer them the other way, that's okay. I think that there's just a lot of differences, but I think that the one I land on here is just the stouter one of the pair. I think that one's opened up in terms of its chest, carries that into an opened up forerib and center body, which allows them to just have so much shape up high and from behind. I think that one still has a nice look from the side when he gets him propped up. Maybe wish he was a little stouter at the ground, send him into motion. I wish he maybe had a little more flex out of his hind leg, but I still think that one's just incredibly good in terms of shape and power. The young lady here does an incredible job getting this one propped up, and especially for how tall-shouldered and neat-looking that one is. I just wish that came with being a little bigger in terms of his chest, a little more opened up in terms of his center body, and I think that one's hydrated and fresh, still has enough shape. I just don't know that it compares to the amount of power we found in the one to start, but I think an incredibly good top pair. Nothing to take away from the rest of these because I think the young man's in third is just a nice looking goat from the side. I think that one's good in terms of center body, good in terms of shape. I like the turn to its hip from the side. I just don't know that that one has as much look necessarily in terms of its front end. I don't know that that one's just as opened up from behind. Same story for this one that comes out next. I think that one's good in terms of a tall shoulder. I just wish that that continued on because I think that one breaks behind its shoulder, gets tighter in its spine, but I think has enough shape and power to justify being fourth. I think the young lady's in fifth. That one's a powerhouse. Big and opened up, good center body, good in terms of shape up high and from behind. I just think that one gets plain from the side, and when you set into motion, that one's coarse in terms of its shoulder, a little tighter in terms of its hock, but I think that one's got enough power to make a good, comfortable fifth. Now, the young man's here. If we collect that one in its spine, I think this one looks really nice from the side. I just wish that we get weaken our spine and kind of droop down. I think if you lift up that chest, that one looks so much nicer from the side because it's good in terms of a tall shoulder, good in terms of hind leg posture. I just think plainer in terms of shape to go up any higher today. And the young lady's black one that we have next, I think that one's just got genuine shape. That one's opened up in terms of its center body. It's got shape from behind and up high. I just think we get a little plain when we go into motion and plain from this side because that one's a little straighter off either end, breaks behind its shoulder and gets tight in its spine subsequently. But I think that one's a good one in terms of shape and power. The next red one we have next, I think that one's tall-shouldered, good in terms of its build, and comfortable in motion. I just think we get plain in terms of shape up high and from behind. And not to sound like a broken record, but similar for these last two, I think this one's tall-shouldered. I think we're good in terms of hind leg posture and set into motion. I just wish we had a little more shape up high and from behind, but good in terms of body shape and look. I think the young lady that rounds us out, that's a tall-shouldered, smooth-made one that's level. I just don't think that one has enough shape from behind or just center body cavity to place any higher. But I think a really nice class, a high-end top two. Let's give them a round of applause.
Congratulations to Seth Agenbrod from Valley View FFA and Eva Malson from K-Van Critters. They will return for the runoff. Class number 3 of heavyweight meat goats. Paul Agenbrod, Valley View FFA. Jovi Brunmeyer, Homedale FFA. Devin Farley, Saddle Tramps 4-H. Ann Casper, Dry Lake Livestock. Levi Peters, Middleton Wranglers. Raven Platt from Notice FFA. And Addison Reitmeyer from Caveman Critters. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No, go ahead. It's cold in here. Okay, my apologies. I left half these kids out. Carlos Sandoval, Critters of Gold, Kaya Seymour, Critters of Gold, Lauren Smith, Locust Grove Wranglers, Cannon Sparrow, Dirty Boots 4-H Club, Cannon Sparrow, Dirty Boots 4-H Club, and Remington Vance from Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program.
Well, a difficult class in my mind. I think there's just differences in all of them and things I want to tie into all the way down here. I think the one I land on, though, just is the highest quality. I think when he gets that one propped up, that one not only is stout in terms of his skull, stout in terms of his chest, opened up, shapely, but yet he remains good in terms of a proportional look from the side. Is he the tallest shouldered? No. But I think that one has a proportional, smooth look, very trendy in terms of the way he's made. I think that one's just a comfortable place to call high quality and start. I think different in two here. I think that one is maybe just a little bit past his prime in terms of just hide and skin quality. But I think past that, that's a tall-shouldered one that's good in terms of shape, in terms of his lower body, in terms of just all things from the profile, yet still remaining stout from behind. I think if that one was a little fresher, a little more toned up in terms of the way he handles, I think that one can play a bigger part. But I think for now, that one just remains a little stale and will stay a comfortable second. Still think a high-quality one to go second. I think our one in third here, I have questions with, and I toyed with throwing it from all the way down here to all the way to starting. I think just difficult. And when she gets him propped up, that's tall-shouldered. That one's good and strong out of the backside of his shoulder. When it's got a good drive in it, good in terms of its chest floor and lower body. I just don't know that that one necessarily puts together the pieces the right way. I think it's got the pieces of being shapely, handling good, touch and tone being good. I just don't know that it puts it together all the right ways. When we get out in motion, that one kind of drops behind its shoulder a little more, I think. But if you can get that one and only look at it when it's on a hard brace and hard drive, a very high quality one. I think the young man's here is really good in terms of foot size, in terms of a stout and dense look, in terms of being opened up. I just think that comes with a plainer pastern, a kind of plainer look from the side in terms of dropped out in his chest as well. But I think a powerful one to go forth. The young lady's lighter red one here is really smooth. That's a smooth-shouldered, long-sided one that's good in terms of the way his hind legs built, especially when you set him into motion. I think that one gets harder in terms of his forerib, plainer in terms of his lower hip shape, but I still think a really high-quality one there. And the young ladies here I struggle with. Really good and really tall-shouldered, incredibly smooth from this side. I think she just runs out of gas, right? And that one's just a little flatter in terms of her forerib. I want to open her up in terms of her center body, open her up from behind. I think that one's fresh, hydrated, good-looking, just not enough power up to move up any further. I think the young man's here. It's a heavy goat. And I think maybe his prime was just a little bit lighter because he's starting to get just a little bit weaker behind his shoulder, a little more dropped out in his chest, a little mature in terms of the way his center body looks. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that's a big-chested one that's opened up and stout, and I think a comfortable one to come up here. The young lady's next. That one's a tall-shouldered, smooth one. And I hate to sound like a broken record again. I think we just run out of fuel with that one. We get a little plainer in terms of our lower hip, a little plainer in terms of our loin, but I think a good one in terms of balance and proportions. Now the young man's here. I think that one's another opened up one that's good in terms of its chest. We've got expansion up high. I think that's just a little staler one. A little plainer in terms of its hide and handle quality, I think, but and plainer from this side, a little softer in terms of his pastern when you set him into motion, but I think really opened up and expansive. The young ladies that comes next, that's a tall-shouldered one. I just wish we could keep that going because we drop out behind our shoulder and we get weaker in terms of our pastern when we set into motion, but I think a good opened up one that's tall and shouldered and good from this side. I think the young ladies that comes next, if we get a hard drive on this one, I think this one's actually pretty good in terms of look from the side, tall-shouldered and kind of braces up hard in terms of his back. I just don't know that if we don't keep a hard brace on him the whole time. That one gets a little plainer from the side, flatter in terms of his lower hip, and frailer at the surface. This black-headed one that we have next, I think that's a good opened up one in terms of center body, tall-shouldered, just a little plainer, a little flatter out here today. And the young man's that comes next, another tall-shouldered, smooth-made one. I think we just need to be stouter featured, more opened up from behind, a little more expansive, but I think a really high-quality class. Let's give them a round of applause.
Coming back into the ring for the division runoff will be Remington Vance and Cannon Sparrow. Okay, returning to the ring for the heavyweight runoff will be Tice Fisher, Alexis Kufler, Seth Agenbrod, Eva Malson, Remington Vance, and Cannon Sparrow.
Well, an incredibly high quality heavyweight division. Let's give all these kids a round of applause. I'll do the same thing. I'll go through and talk each of them. I think our first class here, I think this one's just really trendy in the way he's made. I think that's a big-chested one that's smooth in terms of his front end. I think he has by far the best set and elevation to his tail, which makes a difference in the way he balances from the side. Couple that with his lower body progression and still being stout enough. I think the only thing I want to change about that one is that he needs to be a little stouter in terms of feature and set him off into motion. He gets a little bit uncoordinated, but I think other than that, an incredibly high-quality one. That's nothing to take away from these two, because I also think we have some high-quality ones out here in these next two classes, because I think this one's really good in terms of shape, and especially the way his hip is made and the way he carries it. I think that's a really stout and powerful one that still remains pretty good in terms of look and smoothness from the side. I think you talk about making one incredibly powerful and yet staying smooth, that's him. I want to make that one just a little bit squarer in terms of his hocks. I want to make him stronger out of the backside of his shoulder, but I think another high quality one. In our last class here, I think this one's definitely our stoutest, featured, tallest, shouldered one, which is impressive for being out of the heaviest class we have today. I think that one's good in terms of touch and tone, in terms of shape from behind. I want to make that one a little bit bolder in terms of his forerib. I maybe want to make his shoulder a little smoother and clean him up in terms of his chest, but that comes with being a heavier weight goat. I think a really nice, high-quality trio. There's definitely give and take. If you like one and I don't use it, I'm not going to argue with you because I think all six out here are incredibly good. But I think these three all have differences, all have preferences. So use whichever one you like. I'll let you know which ones I like today.
Your grand champion heavyweight market goat is Alexis Kufler. And your reserve champion is Remington Vance. Don't forget the final drive tonight. You'll see all 6 of those come back. Those division winners come back for the grand drive at 6:30 tonight.